Alright guys, so let's get started here. Got a couple things to do today. I'm going to be switching out my harmonic balancer. I'm also going to be removing this. Hopefully I don't get a check engine code from removing that, but we'll figure that out as we go. Okay. Now to remove this piece, there was just two clamps. It was this Phillips head right here, and it was this Phillips head right here. That Phillips head was here, and then the other one was right here. I just took those out, pulled this part out just so I can have easier access to put my hand down there. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. You have this hose right here, which is super easy to remove. This one, that's the line that goes to that side. And the solenoid has this connection right here. Now notice how that one is a little stubby. So a little more force to get it out, and then that one goes around to here. Okay, so to get these out, it's pretty simple. So I can like needle those and just kind of. Oh, here it goes. And you can keep these because you can always use this later, especially if you're gonna do a engine wire tuck. They're good to use. All right, now you have both of those pieces out. All right, so then over here you got this clamp right here that you just want to literally take off. Sorry, I'm doing this with one hand. Okay, after you take that off, just wiggle this around. It should come right off. All right, there goes that part. Now, this slides right out. And then you have hose at the bottom. Now that hose is a little harder to get to. Actually, I just pulled it and it came right out. Well, that wasn't too bad. All right, so there goes that. Set that aside. Now you want to grab a 10mm. Remove these two bolts right here. And don't forget about this little bracket right here that's connected there. It just kind of clips right off. All right, so let's remove those two 10mm bolts. All right, I'm struggling here with one hand. All right, broke them loose. Okay, and the rest of it, you can literally just grab your socket, just kind of wiggle it out. It's not too bad to do this job. The only problem is you're going to be letting those vapors into the air now, because you don't have you're not going to have one of these to filter your fuel system. And if you do it right, you won't get a check engine light. Those of you with emissions, I have a 90, so I don't have a problem with that. So, alright, and after you remove those two bolts, this literally just slides back out. There it goes, just those two bolts holding it. Set that to the side. They got a lot more room in here. Now this line right here, you have this line, you want to connect that to this line right here. So normally what you can do is just remove the line that came from the bottom. All right, this is the one that was on the bottom of the charcoal canister. And then you have this line. So what you can do is you can just literally kink it and just cut it right about there. And then put this clamp right over it. That way you don't have anything really going into the air. You don't want to filter that into the air. So I'm gonna do that now. All right, so I cut that line with my knife. Don't forget your clamp. So now got it on the other hose. And you literally just want to run this over here. All right. Okay, so pretty far in there. Let me just move the clamp a little bit up, just to try to get it up a little bit more. And that'll help it go down more. That should be enough. All right, Let me just clamp it down. Alright, so I got it on pretty good. Alright, so this is just there, and you can see all this. Now this connector, if you unplug that, you probably will get a check engine light. I'm gonna leave mine plugged in, and then this can vent to air since that doesn't really matter. Now this, you can't leave that without that. So one trick for this, let me show you. So Mazda, it's been very nice to provide you with these things in your trunk if you get lucky. And you might find one on a bolt, which one is right here. And that's my last one left. Okay, so you take this little T that they have, right? You bring it over, and it's actually perfect fit for these things. And it goes right on there. Now you don't got that big box in the way. You can clean up this area. Probably gonna vacuum this out. Got a lot of like the tree things on here, so that way you have more cleaned up engine bay. So, all right, not bad. Okay. All right, so I mean, once I get the new engine in, I'm probably gonna do a wire tuck. So all these wires, all you see there, are probably gonna come out here and then go under the headlight. Same thing goes to this side. They're probably gonna come here under the headlight, and then whatever I need to connect, I'll connect. Whatever doesn't, then get somewhere else. All right, now let's go with removing the belt for the alternator, water pump, and crank. All right, so over here, if you come down here, let me get some lighting. Over here, if you come down here, you got this bolt right here. If you loosen up that bolt, then it should loosen up the belt, but you gotta loosen up this one first. If you just loosen up this one will just literally come out and it won't do anything until you loosen up that one. That's your pivot bolt. So you wanna loosen up that one first, then you start loosening up this one. Let's do that now. That bolt is conveniently 12mm bolt. This is my camera's guy. I love these ratcheting wrenches. After you loosen up that one, got it nice and loose, and move on to this one. Now this one should pretty much already be loose if you just loosen up that one. Okay, no it's not. Right, so that's another 12mm. I'll just put something up in there. Get it nice and loose for this. Enough so you can get it by hand, and after that you can sometimes you gotta push the alternator in just to get that belt loose. Alright, so what I like to do is I just literally lift the bolt up. You gotta loosen up so you can lift it up, and then push the alternator by hand. After you push it in a little bit, and that should get it to where the belt easily just slip right off. And in this case, it's not really wanting to do that. All right, guys. So what I did was just loosened up the pivot bolt a little bit easy. A little bit more, which gave me enough to just literally like move this by hand. Now the belt should just literally come right off. Let's take it right off. Okay. There goes the belt. Not too bad. My belt is in pretty good condition. I replaced it not too long ago, so I'm gonna reuse this belt now. Take off this, you got, if you look at the new one, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts right here. They're all 10 millimeter. All right, it's nothing too bad. I bet you can pretty much do it. You just need a little extension, and then when you put in the new one, you want to put it in nice and firm. Now, if you look at the size of the new bolts, I got this from a junkyard, so hopefully it works. If you look at the size of the new ones, they're not too big. So, what does that tell you? You don't want to over tighten this, it will break, and then you got a broken bolt inside of your engine, and that's not fun. All right, so let's do it right the first time. All right, so let's work on getting those 4 bolts out. Now, I'm not gonna film this part because you're not pretty much not gonna be able to see what I'm doing. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. Just pull them out, and then this should just literally slide right off. One thing I forgot to mention, when you're loosening this, if it's spinning, put your car in 5th gear. Inside, put it in 5th gear, and it should be tight enough for you to loosen it. This goes in front here, and I had it on the back. And then there's 2 other ones. There's a smaller one, and then there's one that's bigger that goes on the crank. Now those 2 go like that. Make sure it's the in one is facing outward. And then now when you put this on, you want to put it in just like that with this on the front. So I'm going to do that now. I'm not going to show that on video. It's pretty self-explanatory. Just putting it in, putting the bolts. All right, got it back on. There it is. Now I'm going to put this belt back on. Make sure you put it, your belt goes in the right part. So I can do that with mine. There it goes. Put it on the alternator. Make sure it goes around the right part. All right, now to tighten it, so after your belt is around the right part down here, all the way around to the top, I just take a little pry bar, push up against this a little bit. That should give it some tension. Of course, not enough. Once you do that, you want to grab your bolt over here. Here. This is the bolt that tightens it. Just loosen it enough to get it over the groove. I'll show you in a sec. So you look, see this groove right here? You want to get it a little over there, and you tighten it back up. Now with a 12 millimeter, start to tighten it, right? And when you start to tighten it, you're gonna see that's gonna start pulling down. And you're gonna start tightening your belt. Alright, so the more you tighten it, you're gonna start feeling this get a little tense. You want to tighten it a good amount. You don't want to over tighten it, and then you get a belt squeal from it being too tight. You want to be able to just turn it 90 degrees, and that's about it. And after that, come over to your other bolt that we loosened up in the first place. Over here. You want to tighten that up just to lock everything together. That way nothing goes loose on you. Alright, make sure that pivot bolt is nice and tight, not over tight, but nice and tight, because you don't get it nice and tight, you won't make sure this won't come off right here. Make sure this is nice and snug. Check your belt tension again. Pretty good. Make sure everything is good. Now you just put these back together, and that's it.